Rawlinsons made their calls for how 2024 would shape up for Australian construction, but how accurate were those predictions? In our previous video, we outlined Rawlinsons' 2024 forecast for the Australian construction industry. Their reports highlighted both opportunities such as growth in sectors like defence and renewable energy, as well as major challenges, most notably a severe skilled labour shortage driving up costs. But how did reality stack up against those projections when put to the test in Q1? The latest Rawlinsons report reveals that while the labour crisis remains the biggest threat, its impact has been even more profound than anticipated. Housing affordability also continued its alarming decline, with dwelling approvals plummeting to the lowest ever since 2012. However, the report isn't all doom and gloom. It explores how emerging technologies like AI could boost productivity across project life cycles. And it confirms that sectors like data centers and social housings are still ripe for investments. Now, let's take a closer look at how Q1 shaped up for each of Australia's states and territories. In the resource-rich West, the construction sector's fortunes are heavily tied to the mining and energy industry. Let's look at how Western Australia and the Northern Territory are performing. In Perth, initiatives to expand the workforce are crucial as the city prepares to meet rising demands, with ongoing efforts like a $47.6 million government program. However, skilled labour scarcity remains a critical issue, affecting competitive dynamics and project execution. The data shows a requirement for an additional 55,000 workers by 2026, while dwelling approvals saw a monthly increase of 3.4% in January. Darwin benefits from steady government and defence-related construction projects, ensuring continuous economic activity. But labour shortages are continuing to drive up costs, compounded by material fluctuations. The overall escalation forecast for 2024 is 6%, with specific increases like 2% for concrete supply and 4% for plumbing supply. Shifting our focus to the East Coast population centres, we find a mix of opportunities and obstacles influencing construction activities. In Sydney, significant government infrastructure projects are helping sustain industry momentum despite a decline in private housing commencements. But the city faces challenges like high insolvency rates and labour shortages, necessary pricing adjustments of 2% for labour and 2.5% for concrete supply. Melbourne's construction sector remains robust thanks to a mix of residential, industrial and infrastructure projects. However, ongoing skilled labour shortages and supply chain issues continue to strain resource allocations. Specific changes include a 1% increase in brick block supply costs and 4% for plumbing supply. Brisbane is proactively maintaining sector vitality through community infrastructure commitments. But financial instability from contractor insolvency is impacting tender pricing variability. Price adjustments include a moderate increase of 2% and 4% across various materials. While the mainland capital dominates the headlines, the island state of Tasmania is also undergoing significant construction sector developments worth diving into. In Hobart, renewed tender participation and major projects like the proposed stadium suggest a transformative period. However, the pending state election creates uncertainty, particularly around politically contentious initiatives such as the stadium. Material costs are escalating sharply, with forecasted increases of 11% for brick supply and 16% for glazing. Finally, let's see how the states of South Australia and the ACT are navigating the current landscape. In Adelaide, Australia's capital, the focus is on strategically adapting to housing demands through an emphasis on build-to-rent multi-unit residential projects. However, forecasted price escalation signal cost pressures, with concrete supply costs expected to rise by 7%, indicating significant increases for essential construction materials. In Canberra, government-led projects are keeping the construction sector buoyant despite broader market challenges. However, there is reluctance to engage in fixed price contracts due to narrow profit margins and financial caution affecting the industry. Notable cost factors include an 11 to 12% increase in plumbing supplies and 4% rise in general costs. As we look ahead, it's clear that addressing the skilled labour crisis must be top priority to keep construction projects on track and costs under control. While pockets of opportunity exist in sectors like renewable energy, data centres, social housing, the overall for the remainder of 2024 hinges on the industry's ability to bolster its workforce. Persistent labour shortages will continue driving up costs and impacting project timelines if not resolved. For contractors and developers, investing in workforce training and exploring innovative construction methods like off-site manufacturing could help mitigate labour constraints. Forming strategic partnerships with education providers and implementing robust retention strategies are also crucial. Policymakers must prioritise removing barriers to skilled migration and implementing incentives to attract more domestic workers to construction trades. Increased funding for TAFE and vocational training is vital to building a sustainable pipeline of skilled labour. With material costs also on an upward trajectory, contractors need to proactively manage supply chain risks through careful procurement planning and locking in pricing where possible. Exploring alternative materials and construction technologies can provide a buffer against volatile input costs. While challenges abound, the Australian construction industry has consistently demonstrated resilience. Make sure you stay tuned though, as we'll be unpacking each of Rawlinson's quarterly updates throughout the year, giving you an insider look at where the market is headed. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel to get notified as soon as those new analysis videos drop. You won't want to miss them as the data continues to unfold across Australia in 2024.